World War II, August 14th, 1941. The United Kingdom and United States drafted and issued a new policy, the Atlantic Charter. Now, what I want everyone to understand is that World War II was a protocol to initiate change in world policies aggressively. War, it enables them to keep changing policy, gaining more power and control internationally. You see, most people think that World War II was about taking out the bad guy. You know who I'm talking about. But it wasn't really all about that. See, it was about initiating something. Most of you are familiar with the term New World Order. Some of you are still waiting for it to happen. It happened back then. We are living in the New World Order now. You've never seen as many documents, treaties, policies, and organizations formed at any one time than around the end of World War II. So this Atlantic Charter became the Declaration of the United Nations, a term coined by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, giving birth to the United Nations on October 24th, 1945. An organization that would, in 1992, issue an old but remodeled plan of action. A plan that could usher in the Great Tribulation of all mankind. And that plan is Agenda 21. This agenda for the 21st century is not just one document. It is the creation and implementation of a series of national agencies, policies, and scams to control all aspects of human existence through a central command. Now, this is a campaign that has been going on for decades, since the very inception of the UN. So there are at this time many facets to this agenda. You see, what the people in control do is they use depth of vision to plan 50, sometimes 100 years ahead, setting up as many tracks as possible, all leading to their desired goal. This is to ensure that they get there. I cannot cram all the information regarding Agenda 21 into one video, so I will cover its 4 main objectives individually. The first one being controlling the media and flow of information. Now, how many of you have had the privilege of reading the 1949 novel written by George Orwell entitled 1984? You've seen the movie, right? What was the job of Winston Smith, the character portrayed by John Hurt? What was his job? Do you remember? To rewrite history, right? To destroy the original paper documents and transcribe a new history in a format that could be better controlled, in a system of extreme socialism, which was kept alive by the society's preoccupation with being at war. After watching this film, people ask, how could people let things get this way? Well, think about this. For example, many of you have formed the healthy habit of reading the ingredient labels on your food products before purchasing. Nice. Now, many people think as long as all the ingredients are organic, you're good to go. Here's the problem. Many of the manufacturers of these products do not have to put certain ingredients on that label, and the standards that they use to certify something organic are garbage. They have lobbied lawmakers to do this years ago. Your best options today are to make everything from scratch, nothing out of a bag, box, or can, and sometimes a jar. I know you can't be perfect, and sometimes these things are hard to avoid. Some vegan out there is eating vegetables grown in the feces of animals that have probably been fed GMO corn and other ground-up animals. Then they turn around and eat something like soy, which is most likely GMO, or grown from the seed of a GMO plant, and loaded with so much lead it could stop X-rays. Sometimes what you think is the healthier option, well, you just have to do your research. And that is because of lobbyists, who would basically pay to have laws passed in favor of major corporations and conglomerates. They are making it legal for these companies to lie to you all. Organic no longer means organic, folks. They figured that one out. And it didn't take them very long either. Because what they did was, they embraced the idea of organic products and used it to their marketing advantage. This is how they control the information about their consumable products, vital information. Now, after you get sick from eating their food, you can rely on their pharmaceuticals to remedy that. Because food and drug companies work together. This is why there exists an agency to protect them. I mean, regulate them. For the safety of all of us, of course. The FDA. You see, folks, they do things and you don't realize what they're doing long term. The education system, for example, has already come under a new order. Children are not being taught the same things, and each year something is taken away. They want all kids in uniforms. You can't just practice fire drills anymore. You gotta practice lockdown drills. You've got kids playing in rubber grass. Even college educations are no longer the same. They are training people to be union-type workers because they eventually want a collective, like a beehive. But they just don't want any drifters. You see, no matter what profession you enter, you have to answer to some organization that then have to answer to organizations they didn't have to answer to before. And so, jobs people used to love, they hate now. You want to be a farmer? Great. Now you're stuck being a farmer. You want to be a doctor? Great. Now you're stuck being a doctor for the rest of your life, whether you like it or not. Why? Because if you don't follow their ways, they can take your license and they can take your land and throw you in prison at the same time. Education is all about laws now. It's all about the rules. That's why nobody wants to go to the doctor anymore, because they put you through this process. They are trained to do this. You're going to sit or stand there and wait, and you're going to wait again and again. Plus, the detachment between doctor and patient should alarm you at this point. The creators of these UN policies also know that people still read books, but not many. Most people these days are accustomed to Googling everything. An AI system that knows what you want to look up before you can even finish typing the word. Should that not alarm you? Should it not alarm you of what your children are being exposed to through these portable devices, namely cell phones and tablets? These two devices make an extraordinarily huge difference in a child's life. They are targeting your children, folks. Yeah, you look over your kid's shoulder. Aw, Elsa and Spider-Man, how cute. Yeah, wait for the video that pops up conveniently when you're not looking. Let me tell you something. It doesn't take long for your child to become addicted to the device. Not necessarily what's on the device, but the device itself. They grow an attachment to it, and they are being conditioned. Just like you, but worse. Folks, you are going to come upon a trend that involves children and these devices, and you're not going to like it. But for many, it won't matter because they will be used to it. They will by then have accepted it. And that is truly the method to our controllers' madness. They want to condition you. They want you to get used to certain things and accept them, no matter how evil they may be. But do you think I'm looking at them? No, I'm looking at you. Stop buying your kids this crap. Let them grow up and get a job if they want to watch YouTube and play augmented reality games all day. It is a shame that doctors now have to tell parents to limit their child's time on these portable devices. You can come up with all the reasons in the world to allow your children to do this, but now the world has access to your children. And the input is skewed. It is tainted and false. Think about it. Why is it that children today are so in love with things such as witchcraft and people with superpowers? Many of you don't recognize it because you are seduced yourself. You're going to keep seeing this theme of magic and superpowers with a twist of demons over and over. I mean, the last two superhero movies each involve some army of darkness being unleashed upon the public. Why? Well, even though that is a common comic book movie theme, they want you to get used to something. They want you to get used to the things you would not normally accept. Think about who controls all the media. It is only a small handful of companies that control the media so much that they can almost condition you to get used to anything, even death. I mean, that's what they do now with the 24-hour Faces of Death show called the local news, right? They are really trying very hard to get you used to people dying. How many mass murders have occurred within the past few months that nobody is talking about anymore? Because people are getting used to it. They want you to feel nothing and tell me it's not working. Remember, the news is exactly what they want it to be. They've been conditioning us for a very long time. Think about how many buttons you have to press at the ATM now. It's like a video game. God forbid you hit the wrong button. They are making you wait on purpose. Because when it's time to crowd people together, they will need to be conditioned to wait in long lines for everything. Unless you concede to upgrading how you do things. It is way too time-consuming and inefficient to go into a business and hand the cashier cash or a card now. No, you need to have the app on your personal device so that they can process your entire personal device that has way more information on you in it than that card. And nobody can really be traced with cash, so they surely don't want you to use that. We live in a smart world now. Smartphones, smart watches, smart TVs, smart meters. Anything that can send and receive information wirelessly is a quote-unquote smart device. But I find it interesting that this word is used for smart conservation tools, an acronym for spatial monitoring and reporting tool. I mean, isn't that what these devices are? Now, in 1980, throughout a series of meetings held by the UN, the International Commission for the Study of Communication Problems issued a report, Communication and Society, Today and Tomorrow. Many voices, one world. Towards a new, more just and efficient world information and communication order. You see, what the UN was doing in the 80s and 90s was they were going on tour with non-government agencies such as the National Wildlife Foundation, Planned Parenthood, the National Audubon Society. There are many more, but they would sit next to the federal agencies like the Department of State, the Environmental Protection Agency, the National Park Service, so that together they could write and implement policy. And the result are documents such as this, which is nothing more than a lengthy complaint about the media, the flow and dissemination of information, including that of education, how it's hurting the world, stating that with sugar on top, that they would like to eliminate and change the way information is disseminated. The media, the press, the internet, everything must be controlled by a single authority in order to make it good and fair for everybody. Let me give you an example. In this document, they outline various problems with communications today, such as free flow, one-way flow, vertical flow, and market dominance. These are the flaws of common concern, they say, such as market dominance, where they express that everything has been commercialized, meaning the press, films, books, recordings, data supply, telecommunications have all become nothing more than products to sell. And they don't think companies should be able to get rich off of something like making an action movie without spreading the wealth around. And that's why everything is so distorted. And they blame it on marketing, they blame it on advertising. They would much rather have a socialist form of information flow rather than people making money in a free enterprise. Now, we all know that the media today sucks. We know that there are problems within Hollywood, there always have been. We all know that there are problems with the press, the news, there always have been. But see, they are going to make these things look so bad that people will ask for order. And that's how you end up with just a talking head on a screen, telling you what to love and what to hate 24 hours a day. Understand that we are living in the days where they are over-sexualizing children in the media. They are allowing this to perpetuate and grow by getting people used to it. So more and more people put it out there. Because eventually, they want the majority of people to get mad. They want people to rise up and say, no, we got to put a stop to this. They will petition the government, and that is when these policies really take effect. And then they got you. Folks, this is one of many parts of a real agenda that is underway, and controlling the flow of information, a new world information order, is a vital step, a prerequisite for the next step, a new world economic order.